We'll now begin the class, the shiur.
For לעילוי נשמת יעקב משה בר אליהו.
Today is Tuesday, November 6, 2012. We're continuing with the shiur of the Zohar Ha Kadosh, which is the soul of the Torah, where all the secrets of our Torah are to be found. We're continuing with Bereshit, and we still have a few months to go before we're finishing Bereshit. We're teaching this class at the Yechiel Foundation, so let's get started. The Zohar Ha Kadosh tells us, you may wonder if devils and demons exist. Do they exist or not? Yes. You say yes. They're angels. You say no.
They do exist, but they're not angels.
They exist, but they're not angels.
Not all of them.
Well, they're spiritual forces, that's for sure, and they're harmful. Now, we're going to see what the Zohar says about how they've been created, these spiritual forces. The question is also, are they useful to this world? Who created them? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who created angels and demons? The only creator that exists, God. Yes. Do you think they're useful? They must be. They must be useful in some way. That's a great question that the Zohar asks. The Zohar answers that yes, they are useful because they punish the guilty. And now we'll see what it means to punish, what it means to be guilty, what it means to be a demon, and what it means to be a devil. There are two pathways in this world, that of the left and that of the right. The path of holiness and that of evil, the opposite of holy. And where are these demons and devils? On what path would they be found? That of evil, correct? Where there is injustice. That is, as the great Kabbalist of the 20th century,
Rabbi
Yehuda Ashlag, says, we must let the sin strangle the sinner. The rope that strangles the sinner is his own sin. There's no need to punish him, as he punishes himself. Why? Because he's changed paths and has entered the path where there are demons and devils. And what is on the path of the tzaddikim, malachim, angels, angels of good? So, if this is the case, everyone would be good, right? Everyone would make sure not to go down the left path. And why do people go down the left path?
Because the evil disguise themselves as good.
The evil? Do you think there are evil people? Does evil exist? There is no evil in man. It's a negativity, a negative energy that gets into that person at some time. And that's what makes them act in a way that is not really him or her. It's a klipa. Well, no. It enters through some fault in them. It's exactly the same as an illness. Are people ill? No, they're born healthy, but they can get sick. Why? Because their immune system weakens, their defenses weaken. But by nature, they do not have to get sick. It's acquired. Evil is also acquired. It's an intrusion. Evil is an intrusion of an energy that has been able to break down the immunological shield, that protective shield that we all have. Just like a virus can enter when someone has low defenses, just like there are low defenses in the physical body, so are there in the spiritual body. Just like there are viruses that can make you sick, viruses and bacteria, there can be these devils and demons that can penetrate a person and dominate them. So, is evil that person or that intrusion?
The intrusion.
How many people have been intruded upon?
Not everyone, but very many. And not always.
In Kabbalistic language, devils and demons are called mazikim. Mazikim. M-A-Z-I-K-I-M. What mazikim do is they're harmful energies that can inspire you to have, for example, a temper tantrum or commit an impure act. The problem is, when you fall and are affected by the mazikim, the mazek transforms into
Mekatreg. Mekatreg
is another Kabbalistic word that means accuser. First they make you fall, then they accuse you. Mekatreg. M-E-K-A-T-R-G. Mekatreg. So you have the mazikim and the mekatrigim. We must know that the mazikim and the mekatrigim cannot approach holiness. A pure being is one completely immune to mazikim and mekatrigim. No matter how much they try, they cannot penetrate them. It's like a very healthy person with a very good physical defense system and a very solid immune system. Then neither virus nor bacteria will penetrate their bodies. That person won't get sick. They're very healthy and well defended. Well, just as it happens with the physical body, so it happens with the soul. Now, all plagues that have ever existed against human beings have been directed or orchestrated by the mazikim and the mekatrigim.
The plagues?
Yes, all kinds of plagues, inquisitions, deportations, enslavement of people, abuse. They're all mazikim and mekatrigim that inhabit this earth. And wars too? Yes, wars. Do mekatrigim enter people too? No. First, the mazik enters, causing you to fall. Then the mekatrig accuses you once you've fallen. He's observing you as you fall. Then he reports you. And what is that accusation like? They go up to the Creator. They're tattlers, like in school. They tattle on you. But sometimes God doesn't want to see it. He knows the accused has been tripped up. Like in French, they say,
Un pot de banane.
the banana peel. A banana peel to make you slip. If someone puts a banana peel in front of you and you fall, then yes, you've fallen, but not because you wanted to fall. They made you fall.
But the act of falling, is it because you've had some fault somewhere before, or you've just fallen and that's it?
Let's see. These questions are getting ahead of the class. The class today is going to give you many explanations, but it is an interesting topic, and I've enjoyed it a great deal. I'll tell you what happened in the time of creation and where these devils and mazikim and matrikim and demons all came from. Before the creation of man with a physical body as we know it, man was made of a body of light. And the type of impurity he could have was not the kind of impurity that we know. It was a type of impurity with his conscience and mental state. But not the brain mind, because there was no physical brain. It was another type of very high consciousness. damage he could cause would be very severe, because the imagination of that intelligence could move and even destroy worlds. So, what did God do? He reduced that imaginative potential, or the potential for visualization that this superior man had. He reduced it. He gave man a body and told him of all the pleasures he could have with that imagination and such superior intelligence that could destroy so much, he could replace it with bodily pleasures and live that way. But he had to stop destroying things through his imagination. This is symbolized in Genesis, when Adam is separated from Hava, when Adam is separated from Eve, and Adam in the Garden of Eden spends 130 years with a she-demon, and Hava spends 130 years with the serpent that eventually caused her downfall. They were separated, but what Adam procreated with that she-demon and what Hava procreated with the serpent were these demons. But be careful, because those demons would have stayed still if they had been given a substitute and been given a body. But God began to give bodies to all these spirits. But when the Shabbat arrived, he stopped working. He stopped making bodies. So what happened then? A lot of these disembodied spirits were left without the possibility to have a body. And they began to see how human beings had bodies with which they could have pleasure, the pleasure of food, the five senses, of using the restroom, of enjoying conjugal relations, of being warm, all kinds of pleasure, just like babies. All the pleasures that a baby can have, or an adult, thanks to that body. So what happened? Those spiritual beings that were left without the possibility to have bodies began to envy the human beings who had been given a body to wrap around themselves and feel happy with. Are you following all this? Yes. So we have these stepbrothers who are just like us. We are consciousnesses inside a body, living with consciousnesses who are not entitled to bodies because the Shabbat came and God stopped. Now those stepbrothers have only one goal: to damage man who has had the privilege of having a body. In light of this dramatic situation, God sent the Torah. The Torah is a mechanism with which to reinforce the immune system of the spirit so that those harmful beings can't harm us. Practically everything we do, all the halachot, all the laws, the halachot, the mitzvot, all the rules, the procedures that God gave us are nothing but medications to strengthen our immune systems against these intrusions. So we're not religious just for the sake of being religious. We're religious like a person gets a vaccine to prevent a disease. Now, those demons can't stand holiness. As soon as they approach holiness, it's like a halogen light shining in their eyes. They can't stand it. And the greatest holiness that can exist is that of the person who knows the secrets of the Torah and works with the names of God. There, evil angels can do absolutely nothing. But if that person, that human being, is incompatible with the name of God, the evil angels can do anything they want with them. And there is one thing that makes human beings, or man, incomplete. One thing makes them incomplete and vulnerable to these aggressions and intrusions, and it's not having children. That man will not enter Gan Eden. They can study and do all the racha in the world. He does not have the right to enter Gan Eden. He is considered incomplete and incompatible with the name of God. And we're speaking of men who could have children, but have decided not to. Because if it's a sterile man, he is advised to marry another sterile woman and adopt children or have students, which is a way to have spiritual children. But those who don't have children or are unable to have children are advised to adopt or have students, because students are considered spiritual children.
Does it also apply for women?
No, but the sin of a woman is knowing that she can't have children and then trying to seduce a man who could have them, knowing he is going to enter a path on which he won't have children, knowing that he could because he functions physically. Do you understand? She puts him on a path with no way out in the name of love. Then that man is not going to have children. She makes him incomplete. She destroys him. It's interesting, isn't it? It's not me saying this. This all comes from the Zohar, from Bereshit. In which parasha? Bereshit. We're in Bereshit. We're still in the first parasha. Still. We've been on the first parasha for over a year. We'll make it to Noach eventually. I said that it could take 5 years of work to teach the entire Zohar. A man who dies without leaving descendants is punished with reincarnation only to have descendants. He comes back to this world with no other reason than to have descendants, and not with an easy life. And these demons are always stalking men who could have descendants and refuse to. And now I'm going to tell you a story that I was told and that I really liked. I may have already told it. It's about a young man who wanted to get married. He was of a certain age and had not gotten married, so he went to the rabbi and asked him, "Would you introduce me to some women? Because it's time I got married." As you know, in the Jewish religious world, women are presented. This is called shidduchim. And the rabbi was very concerned about his student, so he introduced him to 40 women. 40. He sat him down with 40 women, and with each of them he spoke for an hour to see if they were compatible. After the first one he said, "She's okay, but I don't like her hair." The next one he said, "She's okay, but I don't like her skin." "Oh, I like this one, but not her breath." "Yes, but she's a little cross-eyed. She's a little lame." "Yes, but this or that." He found something wrong with each woman. Then woman number 40 came, and he also found fault in her. "Well, there are no more women," said the rabbi. And the man said, "Was one of them my soulmate? Of these that you've presented to me?" "Yes, the second one was." And he missed her. He was so critical and such a perfectionist that he never got married. So, the best is an enemy of the good. Don't forget that. Don't look for the best. Look for good. Because there's always someone prettier, bigger, more beautiful, more sensual, better dressed. There is so much more of everything. You'll meet 40 women and not like any of them. And how did the story end? He died without children. He had the defect. Because he wasn't looking for holiness. He was looking for his personal pleasure. Out of 40, one of them must have been all right, right? So it was Shabbat, and all these spiritual beings who did not have the opportunity to have a body, the devils and the demons, the Shabbat came and they hid. They can't stand the holy Shabbat. Shabbat is an antidote against them. For those who observe Shabbat, or always for those who observe Shabbat. And that is why the Torah says that Shabbat is the image of the Olam Haba, because in Olam Haba, the world to come, it's so pure that there's no chance for such a demon or devil to enter. And when it's said that when the Mashiach comes, every day will be Shabbat, that means that every day will be Olam Haba. That means we'll live in a world without demons or devils, without anyone pushing us or tempting us to have bad qualities. So that additional soul that we receive on Shabbat frightens the demons away. They cannot stand the additional soul we receive on Shabbat. When do we receive it on Shabbat? When do we receive it? When Shabbat comes in and we do the Midah, that's it. We receive the additional soul. And on Saturday morning when we say the Nishmat, the prayer of the Nishmat, that's it. The Neshama Yetara goes back, that additional soul returns. So, here the Torah unravels a secret I had been thinking about a long time and not been able to figure out. You know that on the Shabbat we read the Lecha Dodi, right? And in the Lecha Dodi, one of the verses is Shamor ve'Zachor b'dibur echad. Zachor means remember. Shamor means keep. God said, remember and keep the Shabbat. And he said so in a single word. How can you say two things in one word? Here, there's a secret, a great secret. If you change the vowels of the word Zachor, gives you the word Zahar. What does Zahar mean? A male. So, if Zahar is male, Shamor is the opposite, female. So, on Shabbat, Zachor and Shamor, male and female, Bedibur Echad, must be one single entity. That's why there's the obligation to have conjugal relations on the Shabbat. Shamor ve'Zachor Bedibur Echad, in a single word. Man and woman are a single entity. That is what God meant to say. There's a very well hidden secret in this phrase. Could it also be understood that it's the soul and body in a single entity? No, it's man and woman, because Zahar is man. So, God says, Shamor ve'Zachor edibur echad. It says that man and woman in conjugal relations are a single spiritual entity. Why? Because that single spiritual entity forms a recipient that hosts the Creator. The Creator wants to reign in this world. If there is a recipient, a throne, on which to receive him, what is that throne? The conjugal relations between man and woman on Shabbat. That is where God can sit and reign in this world. Our job is to plant God on this earth. Of course, if we plant God on earth, divine holiness is of such magnitude that neither devils nor demons can survive. Shamor ve'Zachor edibur echad. And so, without a doubt, the greatness of Shamor ve'Zachor edibur echad, of a man and woman, forming the recipient for the throne of God. Man and woman are hospitable, but even greater than that is God's acceptance of that hospitality. Even greater than us receiving Him is Him accepting that reception. Let's imagine the king comes and knocks on your door. It's an honor for you to receive him, but it's an even greater honor for him to visit your house, because he doesn't go to everyone's house. Some people are dying to have their photo taken, shaking hands with the king. Well, imagine the King of Kings, God. Let's continue with the Zohar, which is very interesting. Here, it tells us of Adam's rib, another secret I've been going crazy trying to figure out. What did God do with Adam's rib? He took it away. He took it away. He took away the rib. And he created a woman. And he put the woman next to the man. He took it away, transformed the rib, and brought it back. If you look at it literally, it sounds like a fantasy out of Harry Potter book. A fantasy. But it's not a fantasy. It's a fantastic secret. It tells us that the rib had a dim light, very little light. When he transformed it into a woman, it had a bright light. And he brought that bright light back to man. That is, he took away a dim light, turned it into a bright light, and brought that back to man for him to enjoy her. My God. Adam's rib is the Peshat of the Torah. It's the literal meaning. Adam's rib represents the Peshat. Peshat means literal meaning. You understand it as you read it. The rib had a dim light. He transformed that rib into a woman. A woman is a bright light, a great treasure. Why is she a great treasure? Because she represents the secrets of the Torah. He took out the Peshat. From the Peshat, he made a woman. He took out the secrets of the Torah. From the Peshat, he took out the secrets of the Torah, which is the same as what we're doing here. What we're doing here is to take out Adam's rib and transform it into a woman. Once we've taken the secrets out of the Torah, from the literal meaning, from the stories of the Torah, and transformed it into a secret, we take that secret to man for him to enjoy it. That is, man understands when you bring the woman or secrets to him, he understands the divine greatness and beauty, and he enjoys them. What does he enjoy? Understanding literal meaning, what it was hiding, the wonder it was hiding, which was secret. Once the secret is revealed, the transformation of the rib into woman, it is brought to man for his enjoyment. Has anyone not understood this explanation? The rib represents Peshat. The woman represents the Tzod. And bringing the woman to the man represents man discovering the Sod and enjoying her. And he no longer sees the Peshat the same way, or the rib the same way. The rib is the written law. The woman is the verbal or oral law, or the Sod. And the Sod comes from the Peshat. That is, the woman comes out of the rib. Although one of my teachers once told me something unpleasant about that. He said, woman comes from a bone, which is a very tough thing. Women are tough, a bone. The only thing that's tough is to break the literal meaning to extract the secret. Now, every time it speaks of God, of how God takes the rib out of Adam to turn it into a woman and bring it back to Adam, the name used by the Torah is Yud Kevavke Elokim. Yud Kevavke Elokim. And Yud Kevavke Elokim took Adam's rib. And Yud Kevavke Elokim made a woman out of the rib. And Yud Kevavke Elokim brought the woman to Adam. Then the Zohar says, what is the reason for this combination of two names? Why, when it tells us of what God did, does it say Yud Kevavke Elokim? Because what Yud Kevavke Elokim has with the Nekudot Elokim, what the name of God Yud Kevavke has with the vowels Elokim, E-O-E, Elokim, E-O-E, is the Sefirah Binah. That is a very high level of consciousness, the consciousness of Shabbat. That is, when he can take the Peshat, turn it into Sod, and have man enjoy that Sod. That's on Shabbat, when Yud Kevavke has the vowels of E-O-E. Beautiful, isn't it? Did you get it? I'll write it down, because it seems that it didn't. Does that mean we have to be in a state of Shabbat to understand that? We have to be in a state of Binah? Elohim has these vowels. E, O, E. Now, what should we do? We take the E, O, E and put them on Yud Kevavke. Yud Kevavke. And we put it here. E, O, E. And this is the name of God, of the Sefirah Binah, that has to do with Shabbat. It means that when God gives you the intelligence to take out the rib, to take out the Peshat, the written law, unravel the secrets contained in the written law, and make you enjoy the secrets you've unraveled, when is that possible? When Yud Kevavke is with Elohim, that is, when it is E-O-E, when it is Shabbat, Binah. Do you get it? If you don't understand, I'll repeat it. I have a question. Yes, go ahead. Why do we take the vowels? Why do we take the vowels? We take the vowels because the vowels have to do with the world. And the name has to do with another world. For example, Yud Kevavke has to do with the world of Tiferet. Each Sefirah has a name. Elohim has to do with the world of Gevurah. But if you take vowels of Gevurah and put them into Tiferet, you'll have consciousness raised to the level of Binah. In other words, that's the chef's secret sauce. How to combine things. How worlds are combined to reach very high levels of consciousness. And there it says that the woman must remain united to the man. That is, the Sod must be united to Peshat. Written law must be united to oral law. If you did not have the written law, you could not learn the lessons and find the oral law. The oral law could not exist without the written law, just as man could not exist without woman. It tells us that the time to have conjugal relations, to make that conjugal relationship a throne on which HaKadosh Baruch Hu can sit, are three. 3 moments. The first, I said a while ago, when? On Shabbat. But there are 2 more. The second time is when the woman comes out of the mikveh, when she finishes the nidah. And the third moment is when the man returns from a trip. What's extraordinary is that we understand Shabbat, we understand Nida, but we don't understand the thing about a man returning from a trip. What happens when a man goes on a trip? Why must he have conjugal relations when he returns from his trip? And this forms the throne of Akadosh Baruch Hu, because the Peshat is separated from the Sod for a time, and when Peshat returns, it must recover the Sod. Well, they say that men who travel a lot are great Chachamim. Why is that? Because on their trips they accumulate sparks, and then they bring them home, and they have to elevate them when they arrive. They say it's because supposedly men travel to study, not to make money. Normally, according to the Zohar, men travel to see their masters and learn from them, and they separate from their wives. And since they're going to learn the great secrets of the Torah, they travel with the Shekhinah, they travel with the divine presence, and they're greatly inspired, illuminated. When they return, they will put all that inspiration into the conjugal relationship, and their wife will help them to create that recipient. That's what the Zohar says. What do you say? I'll tell my husband. You'll tell your husband. Tell him to go study, go get some sparks, and then come back home. It's a good one, isn't it? Well, that's where we'll conclude the Zohar part of the class. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them now. It's been a nice class, this part. It unravels a lot of secrets. The Zohar is strong, a strong way of explaining the Torah.
Speaking of how negative forces enter one, but not what they do, what do they do to make your immune system weak?
Now that's something you should be responsible for, not caring for your immune system. Once the bug is inside you, you're sick. But what can you do beforehand? I've said that these Mazikim and Mekatrigim are allergic to holiness. Whenever you're connected to subjects of the Torah, or trying to unravel secrets, or reading an interesting book that inspires you with your consciousness active in matters of holiness, you're immune, completely immune. But for example, when a person has a disease, will studying the Torah or the Zohar expel that negative entity? Exactly. In fact, the person who has a disease has it because their thoughts have made them vulnerable, and they must change their way of thinking. There are thoughts that take you to chaos, and others that take you to harmony. I don't know about you, but when I study the Zohar, I have an inner happiness that is so great, I have to stop because I can't stand it. Too much happiness, I can't stand it. Too much happiness is painful. I don't know if you knew this. Too much happiness is painful, and sometimes I have to stop because it's too beautiful. I have to stop and calm down because I get a great excitement. And here I'm giving it to you in little chunks, but imagine at night, an hour, 3 hours, studying the Zohar and turning pages. I go through one secret after another, and there comes a time I have to say, wow, my soul, my body can't stand so much light from the soul. That strengthens your immune system. When your immune system is strong, evil can't stand being inside you. It has to come out. It can't stand it. In other words, you put holiness in, and darkness has to come out. That's it. That's how a person is cured. If someone says, I'm sick, give me a blessing, what do I say? I add holiness. By adding holiness, the evil part must leave the body. It can't be inside because it can't withstand it. For example, the blessing of the Kohen.
יברכך השם וישמרך.
When that blessing enters the person with all the intention, anything evil is expelled. It can't withstand it.
On this topic, why is it that the Chazan, the one who is serving, must first say every word and then the Kohen repeats it? What is the role of the Chazan in repeating if the Kohen could say it directly?
Because the Chazan represents the body and the Kohen the soul, just as when they say Abraham, Abraham. The thing is, you must give the blessing to the body and to the soul. The Chazan is below and the Kohen is above. Chazan wears shoes. The Kohen does not wear shoes. One is in the physical world, the other in the spiritual. The blessing enters body and soul. But first you must activate the part below. Yes. Do you remember the class on libido? Until man has desire for the divine holiness won't respond. Man is the bride of God. In reality, in cosmic law, a man should never pick up a woman. According to cosmic law, the woman should pick up the man. Why? Because in the physical world, the man must make the first step toward God. God is the giver. Man is the receiver. He has a soul to receive blessings. He is female. The human being, with respect to God, is female. God is the giver. God does not receive. He is the giver. Until man takes the first step toward God, the blessings are not placed in him. So, if the receiver is the one who must take the first step toward the giver, the woman should take the first step toward the man. And yet, we have inverted the situation, because in our society, as we know it, it's the man who picks up the woman, although now it seems to be changing, or so I've been told. Well, now it's more in accordance with cosmic law, yes. My generation did not experience that. In my generation, it was the men who went out in search of women. I don't know how the situation got turned around. Very carefully. Very carefully. Okay, we'll take a break now. Okay, if the evolution of man tends toward there being a modification in his DNA and his body, as we're going to go through a photonic belt and align with a number of stars and receive a light that our physical bodies won't be able to withstand, what can we do? What can we do? We must bring the Gan Eden down to this world, because in Gan Eden there is a being of light, and in this world there is a bodily being. We must unite the two beings, and that Gan Eden protect this world. We must unite the two worlds. These two worlds, it's not one physical world and another physical world. It's a physical world and a world that is not physical. So one world can interpenetrate the other. Is that clear? Just like two bodies can't interpenetrate each other, they would collide, but a body and a soul can interpenetrate each other because the soul is not solid, the body is, so the soul can enter the body. Why not make Gan Eden enter this world? It would be like making a soul enter this world. So, we should make the soul of Gan Eden descend to this world. And the soul of Gan Eden should protect this world, just as our soul protects our body. Isn't that logical? Doesn't the earth already have a soul? The earth has an intelligence, but it will not be able to withstand the light of Gan Eden. The proof is that Gan Eden existed in this world. God took us out of it and sent us to this world. Wouldn't it be like a neshama yetara for the earth? Yes, a neshama yetara, an additional soul. An additional soul, like putting the earth into Shabbat. No, putting the earth into Shabbat, but making sure that the soul protects the earth and all its inhabitants. All of them? Yes, it's already been done. The life of a body depends on its soul, and the life of this world depends on the soul of this world. So, I propose to you that we introduce the soul of God into this world. Let me tell you something. The Kohen Gadol in the temple made the divine essence come down to this world with a name. The name is in the initials
להדליק
Ner Hanukkah. When it's Hanukkah and we light the Hanukkah candles and we say,
ברוך אתה השם אלוקינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר חנוכה.
the initials are Nun Lamed Hav. Nun Lamed Hav invokes the divine essence and calls it down to this world. That is, the light that Hanukkah can give. There is nothing in this world or any world that can give as much light as that. And what was the name that the Kohanim, the Kohen Gadol, meditated on Yom Kippur? It was Nun Lamed Hav. On the day of Yom Kippur, when they entered the Kodesh HaKodashim, and they used all the power of the ark, they brought the peace down to this world because they made the divine presence come down. How? With the name Nun Lamed Hav. We already opened the ark in the previous meditation. And now, we only have to call the divine essence down to this world. The most powerful antidote to protect human beings is what that is. There's nothing stronger. It's the name pronounced by Kohen Gadol on the day of Yom Kippur, Nun Lamed Hav, the name of the maximum light. There's no more light than that of Hanukkah. My master told me that when on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur we had not been able to complete Teshuvah because we did not have the power to complete Teshuvah, the power of Hanukkah could achieve what Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur had been unable to. That is a great lesson. 100 is the numerical value of Kuf, of Kadosh. And do you know what happens when Kadosh is present? And do you know what happens when Kadosh is present? Neither demons nor devils are present, which is how we began the class. So this is equivalent to 100, like Kuf of Kadosh. And today, instead of saying Echad, we'll say Kadosh 3 times. The first Kadosh brings the light down from Keter to Chokmah and from Chokmah to Binah. The second Kadosh brings the light down from Chokmah to Binah and from Binah to Chesed. And the third Kadosh brings the light from Binah to Chesed and from Chesed to Gevurah. And then we're inside the tree. So now let's close our eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Inhale, hold it, exhale, again, inhale, hold, exhale. Again, inhale, hold it, exhale. We see ourselves inside a large golden Star of David. Before us, another golden Star of David that acts as a screen. We invoke the letter Nun, and we light it. We invoke the letter Lamed, and we light it. We invoke the letter Hav, and we light it. We light the Nun, the Lamed, and the Hav. We bring the three flames together into a single central flame that burns out the tip of the Star of David we're meditating on, and we bring it to our star, where that light will enter through the upper tip, the three flames intertwined, and now enter our skulls and lights up our brain. It goes down to the heart, lights up the heart. It goes down to the liver and lights up the liver. It ascends to the heart and it stays in the heart. Now we say Kadosh 3 times.
Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh.
Again.
Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh.
Again.
Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh.
Again. Louder.
Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh.
Again.
Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh.
We formed a ring. And we project this pure white light toward the earth, which is in the middle of our circle. And when we say Kadosh 3 times, we see a light penetrating inside the earth, building an enormous immune system for the earth and its inhabitants.
Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh.
We see the light working, penetrating, protecting.
Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh.
With a powerful voice.
Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh.
Again.
Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh.
Now, Metatron and Sandalphon descend and finish the work we have begun. And we have just seated HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the throne of his earth. We take 3 deep breaths now. Again. Again. With this meditation, I received 3 messages. The first was from Metatron and Sandalphon, who said, "We never thought that you would be capable of doing work like this. We didn't think you were capable." Then, since we brought the divine essence to this world, I had a direct conversation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he told me 2 truly moving things. I don't know if I'll be able to convey them to you. Not everyone can withstand being before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. First he said, let me remember. He said to me, "I take the earth and heavens as witnesses for the oath I'm going to make to you." That was phase 1. In phase 2, he said, "I swear to you, on my creation, that I will never harm you." And here we conclude today's class. Powerful, isn't it? Does that mean he would do no harm to the earth either? Those were the exact words. Let each one interpret them as they like.